It's our second and last pre-season road trip, and we find ourselves in Hull, and I've got new recruit Oliver Gildart, who's had, in the last 12 months, 3 clubs, I think. Do you call people by the wrong name sometimes?
I don't know what I've been doing, but it's been quite crazy, to be fair. I've gone from kind of a predominantly one club man for most of my career to having 3 in 12 months. So not ideal, to be fair, mate, but it was good to experience a few different clubs, different coaches, different playing environment. So I definitely think I've learned from those experiences.
How do you look back on your time in Oz?
Loved it. Yeah, look, it didn't go as planned as I wanted to. I'd love to have played a lot more games, but that's life. Shit happens, I suppose, and you just got to get on with it. I spoke about previously, when things aren't going your way, how did I respond? And I'd like to think I responded quite positively, and got myself through them tough times and back enjoying myself again.
Do you come back a different player?
I'd like to think I'm a lot more experienced. Obviously, like I was mentioning with the coaches, players, I've obviously been out there, and the standard is amazing. I'd like to think I've picked up a few things on the way.
We've been asking set questions, and I'll ask you one of these a bit later, but one of them is, who'll be the most improved team this year? And a lot of players at other clubs are saying Hull KR. I mean, that's not a surprise, is it?
Yeah, look, I'm not too sure. I don't know what other clubs are doing. Hull KR had a great year last year, and I know that Willie and the staff are looking to build on that. Pre-season's been that way. It's been real tough, it's down to us now to implement these things into the games and see where we are at the back end.
You spent most of your career at Wigan, and only 4 clubs have won the competition. What does it take to break through? What does it take to break through and be a top tier club? And you've been around the game long enough. Yeah. What are those little things that make you become an elite club? Yeah,
I think when I was at Wigan, we just seemed to time everything really well towards the back end of the year. We didn't probably have the best seasons. We weren't winning, the league leaders every year, but we just knew when it comes to finals that everyone knew the role well, everyone was executing well, and we just got a real good, strong belief, and just went for a run for it every time we'd got there. And the same with this club. Look, we want to start off well and have a real good season, but you just got to try and implement the things for more for the back end of the year when it gets important.
Okay, we're still here on the backfield at Craven Park in Hull, and our next guest is Peta Hiku, who's played professional rugby league in 4 countries.
Yes. Pretty much. It's been good. Been a good experience. Been looking forward to having a full season here.
Yeah. So why here? How did you come to be here?
So obviously I come over in 2017 with Warrington, so I enjoyed my time there, and it was just something I didn't want to not experience with my family, coming over to this side of the world and experience what they have over here. And we've obviously enjoyed the winter time of the year, but we're looking forward to it getting warmer, but couldn't pass up the opportunity being in Hull KR.
And sightseeing, you're going to do some sightseeing on the continent?
No, we'll see how we go at the moment, mate. We've got the kids in school finally getting everyone into routine, so when we get the time off, school holidays actually coming up, so we'll see what we have time to go around and visit.
Mate, this club seems to be one that's ready to break through into the elite, isn't it? Like everyone's tipping this club for sort of greatness over the next few years.
Yeah, I think that's one thing from the club. Looking at it from the outside, obviously I was over in Australia last year, and just when I had signed, watching the games they were a part of, they just have that grit. They never went away, no matter what the scoreboard was, whether they were winning or losing. They just were always in the game. And just looking at that from the outside, you can see what the potential they have at the club. And coming here, being a part of, I think, we got to not expect that just to happen for us the next game. And sort of that's an attitude thing for us, and I think that's one thing we got to focus on.
Where do you see the future for yourself over the next sort of 5 years? Maybe after you finished here, what are your plans? You want to travel? You got a young family. You can't travel too much. What are your ambitions?
At the moment it was just more sort of come over here and see what I can sort of give out from my experiences, and still see what I can achieve with what I've got left and playing footy. But I love the game, so if I'm not playing in the next 5 years, which is highly likely, but I'd like to still be in the game. The knowledge, I love the game. I love just what it's about, what it does for people, and I'd like to just what I've been coming to, helping young people come to, it's something I sort of enjoyed and want to keep doing. So I'm hopefully off. It's doing footy somewhere.
You've got a fair highlights reel. How do you reckon your game's changed over the years, Peter?
Mate, there's probably changed, a fair bit. Just with I know they're trying to bring more fatigue into the game, make it quicker. There's just a lot when I first started playing, it was just a penalty, you get a reward, and then it was all more structure, more pulling people apart. Now it's just more of a who's going to break, who's going to be under fatigue, who can do most disciplined thing under fatigue type thing. So that's the way the game's been going at the moment, and it's unreal to see what the type of the players that are doing what they're doing now, compared to when I first come through.
What about your own game, the way you play? How do you think you've changed?
Myself, I think it's I've missed a lot of just the natural instinct type sport. When you're young, you just want to play. You're just trying to get out of the way of the big boys, trying to I think that's what I've been missing in my game from when I first started. So I've gone into more of as you get older, you sort of get smarter and just start thinking about how we're going to pull them apart and So I think that's where I've sort of got at, and just being back here, playing at fullback, it's sort of bringing back the instinct, bringing all back why I love the game in the first place, and so it's that just all that kind of So it's been good, been enjoying it.
Our final guest here at Hull KR, Tyrone May, a guy who's played a lot of parts of the world for a young fella, haven't you? You've seen a lot of the world playing rugby league.
Yeah, I've seen a lot now. It's coming from a kid that wouldn't get past Mount Druitt on his days off when I moved out. So it's been a crazy transition. I never thought I'd leave that part of the world, but it's been probably the best couple of years of my life, being able to open my eyes to that and develop as a person. Now,
did you think when you went to France that it was kind of France or home, or did you think it was a gateway to Super League and you might end up at another club?
Well, when I initially went there, I wanted to go France, then home, but I loved my time there, and so I decided to stay there, and then the opportunity to come here just happened naturally, and then so now I'm here.
So did you actually, was there a time in the last few years where you actually made a decision, hey, I'm not going to go to the NRL, that doesn't have to be the path, and what made you sort of reach that decision,
I think I wanted to go home. I was trying to get home, and then some things happened and it didn't allow me to go home, so I just was like, well, I'm here now, so I might as well just put all my focus and energy into this.
There's a lot of buzz around this place, isn't there? Because in Super League there's kind of only 4 teams who've ever won it. It's so hard to break into that elite, isn't it? You haven't been here for forever, but what do you think it takes to actually, and Catalans have done it repeatedly, making finals. What does it take to actually break into that sort of elite level in Super League?
I think just having a team that's willing to do all the dirty stuff, not all the pretty stuff, wins your big games. It's all the little things, and I know it's not appealing to the fans, but that's what wins your rugby league games. And I think Catalan had we made the final last year, but it wasn't off, being the most pretty team. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of just grit for games.
Did your game change when you came to Europe? Were you able to use more flair in Super League, and does that continue here?
Yeah,
because you were just talking about grit and all the boring stuff,
Yeah, no, I think I was able to express myself, especially last year, having a full season in the halves. It's been a while since I've done that, and we had a good combination, we had a good spine, and I think I was able to show, what I could bring to the team, and I'm hoping to repeat that this year.
How is it around footy? How is it different? I guess here's going to be different again to France, because it's mainstream here in Hull. It's the number one game here. But how does that compare to back in Australia? And is that one of the attractions? Is it different around the outside of the game here?
Yeah, I think back home it's a bit hectic with all that stuff, You can say one wrong word and it gets taken out of context, or just stuff like that. But yeah, it was coming from France, and there's not much hype around rugby league. There is in the Catalan region, but apart from that, it's not really spoken about. But being here, I'm obviously, embraced by it. You see people with their the badge on the back of their cars and stuff, and they really love their footy here. So just being able to transition into that small city with the rugby league town focus, which was kind of the way it was back home, and just getting ready for that.
So have you got a few more years of hecticness in you, or not? Are you think you've got it in you to go back for a few years?
I don't mind. I'm here now, and I'm worried about what I have to do here as a player and as a person. But if that comes later down the track, then I'll be prepared for it. I think where I am now today is a lot different to where I was when I was back home, and I think I'll be able to handle that easily.
Now, I've been asking guys who've got any connection with Wigan or Penrith what they think will happen in the World Club Challenge. What do you think will happen?
Obviously, I grew up with all the boys in Penrith, and my brother's there, so I'll be going for the Panthers. Do you think they make up for last year? I think I don't think they realised how much the St Helena meant to them. I know speaking to Nath after the game, he didn't realise how important it was. But I think they're not going to leave no stone unturned this year in the way they prepare and attack the game.
They warned us of snowstorms, but we're at the launch and it's gone ahead. And I'm here with a new arrival in the country from the Lead Leopards, Matty Moylan. Matty, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good. Been enjoying my time over here so far, and just looking forward to game start. And obviously had a trial on the weekend just gone, and it was good to get out there and put into practice what we've been working on throughout the pre-season and have a hit out alongside the boys. And looking forward to getting out there on Friday round one.
It's noisy in here. I thought you just said I had a child on the weekend.
No. Trial game, no child.
So mate, how did you? Was this a long negotiation to come over here, or did it happen pretty quickly?
No, it happened pretty quickly. Once the ball got rolling, I was caught up with Ricky Latelli when he was back in Australia, and we're having a couple of beers, and we got talking about his experiences over here, and sort of mentioned to him that the club had reached out to my manager, and then he took a photo and sent it to Chris Chester, just sort of taking a piss there a bit and having a laugh, and it sort of just started in the negotiation from there. Like, they were sort of testing the waters and seeing how I felt about coming over here, and obviously the chat with Ricky and his experience here, and that sort of got me a bit excited about the opportunity to come over, and then unfolded in a meeting with Adrian Lamb. He flew down from Brisbane to Sydney to have a meeting with us, and the way he spoke about the club and the direction, and where he sort of seen me fitting in around that, and what I could try to bring to the club, and that sort of challenge excited me as well. So it wasn't too long a negotiation, but from there I left that meeting pretty excited at the opportunity. Obviously a new challenge in front of me, and the opportunity to come over here and test myself in a different competition.
Are you someone who's always wanted to see the world at some point, or was that not a factor? Was it just a footy thing?
No, it's definitely something that I've always wanted to do. Like, travelling is always a fun part of life, and something I've always enjoyed. So I think that side of it is obviously a reward of being over here, but that comes outside of footy. You've got to compete and do your job here first, and that sort of travel and stuff comes outside of that. So don't want to be messing with the footy, but that comes first. So the travel side of it is definitely an aspect of the experience I'm looking forward to as well.
As a sort of elite player back home, a rep player, do you put pressure on yourself to really sort of make a difference at the club and in matches this year, or do you just do your best and see what happens, you know?
I think coming across, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to be in the best position I can be personally, so that I'm doing my job for the team there, and doing what they expect of me in fitting in that role at the club, and that's what I hope to do, and just want to be making sure that I'm consistent throughout the season and week to week in my performance on the weekend and at training, and try to add value to the team and the club in whatever way I can.
You look at blokes like Bevan French and Whitfield, they've really made a home here, haven't they? And they've got great careers here, and they've got high profiles and stuff like that. Is that a bit of a template for what you might be able to achieve, or are you just thinking about your current contract and then you might go back, or you know what I mean? Like, have you sort of decided you're going to put down roots here, or are you just going to play it by ear? Or
on them two boys, obviously the success that they had last year was as a club was a big part of the form that they were in. So excited to come over and test myself against players like that are in good form, and I think there's a fair few quality players that are of similar mould in the Super League. So it's exciting to come and test myself against new players. And in terms of myself and my career, I've got that 2 years here at Lee, and really excited at the opportunity over those next 2 years, and whatever comes after that, we'll just play it by ear and go from there.
World Club Challenge coming up. What do you think is going to happen in the World Club Challenge?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Obviously, Penrith, extremely good side over the last 3 years, 4 years, 4 straight grand finals, 3 straight premierships. They're a hard side to beat, but in saying that, I think Wigan play an attacking style of footy from the little bits I've seen, so they might be able to put them under a bit of pressure there. Obviously, conditions will probably suit the Wigan boys. Obviously, not this cold back home, but Penrith, I think, just a class outfit that don't beat themselves. So I think it's going to be an enjoyable game to watch for any of the fans that get out there, and a good experience for both clubs.
So we're still here at the launch. I'm here with from Hull, New Brown. I was supposed to speak to you at the Hull Media Day, but I got no sleep the night before. So we finally caught up, because I live in London. It's a long way.
You feeling better now?
I feel better now. Thank you. So, mate, I thought your comments in the launch downstairs were pretty good about your journey. Can you just recount for us when? Was it one doctor or several doctors said to you that you weren't going to play again?
It was about 5 to 7 doctors. I saw five different surgeons, and they pretty much said you're going to pretty much have to retire. The surgery's not going to be successful, really. And then, from then I broke down and cried, and to my fiance now. And but I knew after that, I was like, man, I know there's still so much more to give to this game, and lucky enough, I'm standing here today. But I had to do my own research. So I was at the Bulldogs at the time, and I took it into my own hands and done my own research, and found a guy that does AFL players in Melbourne, and I was quite lucky. And
what was the injury?
So I broke the navicular bone.
Yeah,
so the navicular bone is 3 bones in your body that have limited blood supply, and literally that snapped. So there wasn't enough blood going into the bone, so the bone actually started to deteriorate. And pretty much the surgeons have said that we're going to have to mount your bones together. And I was like, nah, I can't do that, because if I mount my bones, then I won't have that range of movement in my foot again. And lucky enough, I didn't have to do that.
So how did you end up overcoming it? What did you do?
So they literally put what do you call it? Bone marrow into my foot, and literally it knitted with my bone, and it worked. But that was after the 3rd time. So I broke my navicular bone 3 times, and on the 3rd time it worked. So thank God.
I remember early in your career, and you were the next big thing, and you would have had people through your teenage years telling you were going to be an absolute superstar. And so to have a setback like that must have been soul-destroying.
Yeah. Mate, you always ask God, or ask the man above, why put you for all that test. But I look back now and I'm like, man, He just had greater plans for me. And I look back now, like being able to play, dual international, to play for both my countries, where my parents are from and where I'm from. It's a dream come true, man. And obviously being in Australia 30-0, that's probably the highest accolade of my life, of my career. And to be here again, to have another challenge, if you don't set goals high enough, then what's the point of life? What's the point of? I think when you set goals and you achieve them, you're setting your goals and your challenges too low for yourself. And being here now, it's another challenge for me, and I'm willing to walk towards the pressure.
A lot of people thought you were destined to sort of play for the Kiwis for a long time and play a lot of tests. So to actually, like you said, to achieve it after everything you've been through and after people saying you're not going to play again. I mean, everyone cries during the national anthem, but I guess you would have had a better excuse than many.
Yeah, definitely. To be able to, like I said before, to be able to not play for one country but two countries, man, at the highest elite level, singing the national anthem just sort of made me reminisce of where I'm from and where I come from and who I represent, and just my whole journey, man. And it was a big thing for me and my partner because, yeah, she's been there through everything. She's seen the highs and lows, and when, you know, the bright light's not here, she's been through it all. So to be here standing today, man, I'm just very blessed.
Are you over here with us in England permanently now, or is it just you're taking it every contract at a time?
Yeah, oh man, the last 3-4 years, they call me the journeyman for a reason. I've just been taking 1-year deals and just seeing how my body is and, you know, my family situation now. Like, obviously my partner and I just got engaged, so it's not just about me, it's about my partner and I and what makes her happy too. And, you know, I've been out of the game for 3 years before, and so I know what it's like to not have rugby league in my life. So right now I'm just taking that, you know, as each day as it comes.
And every time you run out is a bonus, I guess. You know, it's something to be grateful for.
Yeah, man. Like, as I've gotten older now, I'm thinking to myself, far out, where's time gone, man? Time goes so fast, and right now, every time I step on the field, even the last 2 friendlies, I sort of just try to be present as much as I can be, because I know this is not going to last forever. You know, this feeling, you know, the nerves that you get, the feeling when you lose, the feeling when you win. Rugby league, just you don't get that kind of feeling anywhere else.
It's very noisy, so I hope you can hear Alex Walker from London Broncos. How was your off-season, Alex?
Yeah, it's been really good. Obviously, we've got a few new faces, a few old faces coming back into the team. So we've just sort of been working on connections and getting used to playing with each other, learning what's everyone's strengths and weaknesses, and trying to help improve everyone as a team.
You had a team during the off-season last year, not a single Northerner in the team. I think it's still the case this year, is it? Or have you got maybe 1 or 2?
Yeah, we have a couple of Northerners in there, you know. But yeah, it's been really good to obviously to have that more London-based players. But obviously, any Northerners welcome down in London. We don't discriminate against them.
Plenty of people with accents like me in London as well. I was just thinking, like, at what point last year did you get that belief? And I remember that comeback against Sheffield. That was last year, wasn't it? Yeah, that was year before. Yeah. Like that. So that's 2 years ago. But like, was there a point where you actually believed that you were never beaten last year? Was there a match, or was it, you know?
I was having this discussion earlier. Like, I think we all sat down at the start of the season and we had sort of a plan and like a goal. And the goal was obviously to get to Super League. And we put that to bed and we forgot about it. It was in the back of our minds. And, you know, we just, as everyone does, you take each game as it comes. And I think after 10 games, I think it was 3 out of 10, 3 wins. And we was like, oh, here we go, like, what's going on here? But we was just building and we sort of got that momentum. And I think maybe with about 10 games out, I think I had a conversation with my old man and was just like, God, I think we're going to go up here. Like, we're moving in the right direction. You know, we brought Corey and Dean in. You know, the performances were getting there and the confidence was coming, and then the results started to show that as well. And yeah, we just started building, and like any team, like, we hit form at the right time. We hit form going into the playoffs, and that really obviously benefits us.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you about IMG rankings. What I want to ask you about is a constant issue in the history of the club is reaching people like me who aren't rugby league nuts necessarily, you know, expats in the London area. You know, have you seen that improve? Because obviously there's a lot of rugby league nuts in London, and it's just letting them know about the Broncos, you know.
Yeah, I think there's, like you said, there's a huge like Australian, New Zealand contingency in around West London, around Clapham and stuff like that, which is right near where we play. So tapping into that will be massive to bring in fans and just to let them know that we're there, because they all love rugby league, and there's a lot more sort of amateur sort of clubs building. Obviously, you got your West Warriors and Hammersmith playing in the Challenge Cup this weekend. So it's just tapping into the clubs like that and getting them to come to games and getting them involved with the community and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely moving in the right direction.
Do you feel as players a bit like you're missionaries for the sport down there? Like, do you personally try to get people to come to matches? You know?
Yeah, I feel like you have that sort of responsibility, especially coming through the academy and growing up there, and sort of you want the sport, the club to do well and to grow, and you want the fans playing in front of like a few thousand fans each week. It boosts your performance, it makes you play better. So it's obviously definitely a bit on our shoulders to go out there and sort of trying to help the club and get the fans in and stuff like that. So I'm constantly getting my mates to come to games and stuff like that. So yeah.
You went away and came back. Do you? I was going to say, when the club, they're talking about, okay, this year's a bit of a building year, and there's obviously the off-field issues. But when the club does earn its spot back and stay there, will you be part of it? Is that your aim to be there when London is a permanent Super League team?
Yeah, look, I love it at London, and I've said before, like, I play my best rugby here. I feel at home, I feel comfortable. So I think, yeah, I'd love to be here when we earn that. If I'm still like kicking and playing and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd love to.
So we haven't been talking to coaches, been talking mainly to players, but we do have a coach here, and he's freshly a Super League coach, Mike Eccles. Did you imagine that, was this an ambition to be a Super League head coach? Because you come from an S&C background, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely not. No, never wanted to do it. Never aspired to do it. Never aspired to be a Championship coach, let alone a Super League coach. But yeah, you just roll with the punches at times, don't you? And things happen, don't they? And I'm a big believer in the time is now. I think people are always planning for things that may or may not never happen. And I took this job for 4 games, and then it turned into the end of the season, and then it turned into a 3-year deal. And we did well last year. Now we're in Super League. So, wow, things have just kind of, escalated very quickly. But no, absolutely no plan to do this. Kind of growing up, as I came into the game, no plans to kind of develop into this role. David Hughes always asked me to do it and develop, so I suppose he got his way.
Yeah.
He laughs and says he finally bullied me into doing it. But no, exciting.
Are there sliding doors sort of moments that led you to be here? Are there things that if this didn't happen or that didn't happen, you'd be somewhere else completely?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What are they?
Well, when I came down, like most Northerners to London, you probably come down for that 2-year deal and with half an eye on when you're going to go back. That's reality because, my family's Northern, so Nicola, she's from Leigh as well, and we've got big families back in the Northwest, so we never thought about going down, having a family down south. And then the cost comes into it, things like that, so you always think you're going to go home. For the first 2 years, Nicola didn't enjoy being in London. She thought the people weren't as friendly. Well, then when our kids went to school, she got a network around her, and jobs came up back north, and I said, okay, do you want to go? And then she turned around and said, no, I want to stay. So I was like, right, okay, great, because I love it here. and that was that really. So lots of opportunities came up to go back north, that just I never went through with. Stayed with the club, and yeah, the coaching thing was just a strange one, really, mate. We were in a real poor spot, weren't we, a couple of years ago, and I just wanted to help out, really, the best I could. So, and it's transpired into this.
Did you doubt yourself at any point?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I like to think I'm very open-minded, and I'm very honest, and I understand what I'm good at. I understand what I'm not good at. And I think that's important. And I ask that from the players, that they're growth-minded and they understand where they need to improve. They understand where the strengths are and where the weaknesses are. Very good at identifying that. Very good at creating an environment that gets the best out of me, and the players get the best side of me. And I can bring in support to support me where I'm not as strong. And that's the same as any coach, right? So, but having never kind of... Maybe it helped me not having a background doing this and building to it. Just being thrust in the deep end and having to fight and survive. Literally, trying to survive relegation and Championship possibly helped me. So, I don't know. Don't really think about it that much. I just kind of get on with the job.
I mean, when the people who you're replacing were your boss is maybe the wrong word, but it must be awkward to be around those situations when guys are either leaving or they're being let go. You know what I mean? Is that a tough thing to negotiate? Because rugby league, there's a lot of politics in rugby league, and some people play politics and some people avoid politics. You know, so how did you deal with those situations? You know?
Well, I think yes and no. It's never nice to see people lose their jobs, is it? But I'm a clubman. I work for the club. I make sure that the performance side's been very strong for a series of years, and I've worked with a lot of coaches. I've worked with Rob Powell, Tony Ray, Joey Grimer, Andrew Henderson, Danny Ward, Jermaine Coleman. I've worked with a lot of coaches in my time here. So, and I've always made sure that area is ticked off and taken care of. And when that came about, it was just a case of helping the club, really. So, not nice to see Jermaine moved on. At the same time, I want to help the club, and we'd lost our way, and it was important that we got back very quickly.
Was it important? Last year, the recruitment it came at the right time with the players who've been in France. Was that something that you started the year thinking these guys are going to become available? It was. So is it? Can you do the same thing this year?
So last year was the plan unfolded exactly as we predicted. Again, it was. I've said this before. It was a surprise to everyone else. It genuinely wasn't a surprise to us. When I put the presentation up that we put up in October for the pre-season, when I put that up the week before the playoffs, it mapped out exactly how we said it was going to map out. We knew we had to build into the year, and we knew we was going to recruit. I was very honest with the players. We will recruit through the season, and as it unfolded, I would let them know, what areas we're looking at, just so there's no surprise to them, and it didn't offset the group. And I think what's important to understand as well is that a lot of other clubs strengthened too. And Bradford strengthened heavily with Seguiaro, Battieri, and Josh Tafua. We brought in two very good players. But again, it's important that I don't bring in just quality players. I bring in players that we needed. We were in desperate need of a left centre. We were in desperate need of an experienced half. And they were exactly what we needed. I knew what we needed, and we went hard to get them blokes. They were fantastic for our culture, by the way. Two superstars in amongst a group of blokes that are very much just learning the game, and they were fantastic for them. Didn't put themselves ahead of them at any point. No egos amongst them at all, and it worked out and it panned out exactly as we hoped it would in October.
Second half of the question: can you do something similar this year?
Yeah, that's the plan. The plan is the difference this year is the outcome is insecure. Last year the outcome was you can get promoted or you can't if you make the playoffs and you win the grand final. This year we don't know what the outcome's going to be, do we? Where we finish. So that's difficult. I often use evidence from other situations, other clubs, other sports to kind of help me with strategy, and this is probably a unique set of circumstances, isn't it, for any sport, any code. I don't think anyone's ever seen this. So when I just strip it back and think, well, what do we do? We're not going to spend the most money, are we? We've got the lowest budget in the Super League. We've got the biggest challenge, but we use that to our advantage in terms of galvanising the players. We're going to need to recruit a couple more players through the year. To answer your question, yes, I can bring players in as the season goes, but I can't wait till the second half of the year this time. I've got to bring them in earlier. Are those players available? No, because the French comp's still going. All the best players predominantly have gone, and the players that have been offered are not going to drastically improve us. So I want to do the same as last year, but I want them in the next kind of 4 to 6 weeks.
It's interesting, and we could talk about this forever, but as a coach, can you afford to take a long-term view as far as the club? Or the club could say, well, the stakes are different this year, and therefore we don't want to spend the money, or we don't want to do this. But your priority as a coach, is it the same as the club's? Because you're focused on this year, aren't you? You still want to do as well as you can. You know what I'm saying is, do you stay in your lane, or do you have the wider and more long-term view when you make these decisions?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a really good question, because kind of a catchphrase I said to the boys last year is the time is now. Like in sports fickle, and you spend years planning for things that never materialise because people get moved on, players get taken, coaching staff get sacked, investors pull out. So when you see an opportunity like last year, I knew we could get promoted. I absolutely knew it. The time is now. Get it done. And the same now. I've got to focus on getting this team as competitive as I can. At the same time, I have to understand that if we are in Championship the following year, as the gradings are indicating, I have to have an eye on next year as well. Now, the time is now comment is not short term. You have to have an eye on what's coming. You have to build. But my strategy for the club, in here a long time, is to promote from within. So that's the long-term strategy. I want to develop our players. We're at 70% homegrown this year. I want to continue that. I want to make sure that there's a legacy here in terms of players. But at the same time, mate, if I've got too much of an eye on that, we won't be competitive this year, which means we won't get bums on seats, which means people won't want to stay at the club because they're in a losing team or a team that's not moving anywhere. So, really good question. I hope that's not too much of a grey answer.
If there's no carrot, you don't need rabbits. Is that the case? Like, if there's no thing there to grab, then you don't need the people capable of grabbing it, you know?
I'm not sure. I mean, listen, like I said, we are a process-driven team, but it's important that you have that outcome at the start of the year. What are you trying to achieve? And then strip it back to how you get there. That's difficult this year, is what I'm saying to you. And I want to make this team as competitive as I can. No, this year. Let's not worry too much. It's not my job. At the same time, in terms of my roster and my players, that is my job, to make sure that we're strong for a period of years. Because the IMG are telling us that this is taken on an aggregate. So I've got to make sure that we're strong. What that looks like is be competitive this year, compete in games, have a buzz about London Rugby League. No matter what, we're going to compete in every game. We're an effort-based team. We haven't got superstars. We haven't got egos. We're going to try as hard as we can in every game. And I know that's a given, should be given, but it's not always. And no matter what's going around us, stay focused on that. And what happens the year after, hopefully I'll have a group of players that want to stay here, no matter what, whether in Super League or whether in Championship, and we can build a strong 3 to 4 year aggregate.
It's going to be a fascinating year. Nice to meet you, Mike. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you in round 1.
Perfect, thank you.
It started to snow outside. We're still here at the season launch. I'm not in a hurry to leave because it looks terrible out there. From Leeds Rhinos, Harry Newman. Harry, how was your off-season?
No, it was good. On the back of those international games, went out to Dubai and then Mykonos as well. So I had a great off-season, but chomping at the bit to get going again.
Yeah. You look around the room today. You're sizing up your opposition, trying to look at who might be in a more improved team, and so obviously there's a lot of new recruits across the comp, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's some great players, acquisitions that Super League's made, but for us it's looking at us as a team. The club's invested really well, brought some great players in, Brodie Croft, Andy Ackers, Paul Moramowski, Lockie Miller, and a couple of others as well. So no, I think we've recruited well, and our vision as a club's to go forward.
So 2 years ago, surprise grand finalists, and then what happened last year? I'm sure your friends ask you in the pub during the off season why things went back a little bit for the club. What do you tell them?
I was injured for a fair bit of it, so
that's clearly the reason.
No, that's not the reason. But I think we had a fair few injuries last year. Things didn't quite go right, and it's tough to get out of those periods when you're losing games and things aren't going quite well. But I feel like we've brought in some really, really good blokes as well as players this year, and that's going to benefit our culture and build on that for the next couple of years.
What about your own season last year? Does the injury sort of get to you a little bit? Does it play on your mind?
Yeah, definitely. It's not ideal. No player wants to be injured. Every player wants to be on the field. But something I'm looking to leave in the past now. Played the most games I have in a while last year, 22 in the end. So no, just something I'm looking to build on.
And as I said, like when you're watching the TV footage and all that sort of stuff, do you stay off social media? Do you subject yourself to that? Like, how do you keep yourself focused on footy? During the year when there's lots of outside noise and stuff. Have you got a strategy?
I'm not that bothered what people think. Only the people that are close to home, and they're the ones that matter. They're the ones that you see every day, spend time with, and they're the ones that know the truth. I think that's the same for anyone in life. Your close family are the peoples and close friends with the people's opinions you should really take on board and listen to. Look, fans are entitled to their own opinion, but at the end of the day, they're not the ones going out there on the field. But no, I'm just looking to build on a positive pre-season and go into the season firing.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to ask you was about obviously re-signing. Well, did you have, was that a tough decision or an easy decision? Did you have other options?
Yeah, no, there's been conversations, and I've said this already, there's been conversations held for other options, but over the last couple of weeks it really heated up at Leeds, and I wanted it sorted before the start of the year, and we've managed to agree. And I think the big thing for me was the vision of the club. Like I said, the players we brought in, the pre-season, the way it's gone. I'm just really happy there at the minute, excited every day that I'm going to work, and it's not work, if that makes sense. That's how much we're enjoying it as a group, and no, delighted to be there for the next 3 years. I owe it to the fans, I owe it to the club. They've stuck by me through a lot, so it's time to kick on.
Can you see yourself living away? Can you see yourself going overseas to play? You know, is that a daunting idea, an exciting idea one day? What are your thoughts on it?
No, it's pretty exciting. But then I'm still 23 years old, and I think sometimes I forget that this contract takes me to 26, and then hopefully there's a fair bit to go still by then. So probably entering the peak stages of my career, 26, 27, 28. So no, it's an exciting prospect, definitely.
Okay, next up we've got a London fellow Londoner, James Meadows from the Broncos. You've got to get home soon. You got training tonight. How does this feel? Like, when you're on the train on the way up here, do you kind of try to picture in your mind what it's going to be like? You know, or you don't care that much?
No, mate. It's good. It's good to be a part of. I'm pleased that London are getting a chance to be on this stage. But yeah, I don't think too much about it. I'm a rugby league player. Try and focus on that.
And are you thinking a lot about the first round against St Helens? Are you looking at Alex Wormsley today and sizing him up?
No, we've started our work for it. We started our preparation at the first day of pre-season for that. So it's obviously in our mind that's round one. It's coming in less than 2 weeks now. So we're getting ready for that.
I asked the other two fellas from London, where do you think the belief started for London last year with the run? Was there a moment, do you think, where it became doable? You know,
I'm probably not best served to talk about this, but from the outside, no. Look, they always believe. London, you always believe. When I was there before, it's the same set of belief then. I think within their camp they were always confident in their own abilities, but I don't think they focused too much on that. They focused on the process, and then it served them well.
Yeah, as a rugby league person in the South, everyone's got theories about what can be done to make the game more popular. How to sell it to more people. What about yourself? What do you think? You know, what does the future hold? How do you get more people to come along to matches? All that sort of stuff. Obviously, being in Super League is one good thing, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, it's a big question. Like you said, a lot of people got a lot of different ideas. There's been a lot of different ways they've tried to do it. Look, I think performance on the field, playing at the highest stage, is obviously going to have a massive factor in that. It's going to be a big help. There's lots of different things. I think that London can be helped by the game to grow it in London. But yeah, mate, it's probably a question for someone who's maybe a bit more intelligent than me to answer. But I think that London should be really proud of what it's done and what it's doing. There's a lot of players who have been produced there. The community game's brilliant. There's a lot of people who are incredibly passionate about rugby league in London. And I think those people just need to keep buying into it, trust the process, and I think it will come. I genuinely believe that.